Hello all, welcome back. I'm at another mastery learning portal. This is education portal for to help developers by sharing knowledge. So yeah, let's jump into our coding. As you know, every Tuesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. PST, we usually take and do live Leetcode problem. So as I mentioned, in initial days, I will focus on easy difficulty. So yeah, so jumping into the next one. So the next one is valid parenthesis, which is basically like for a given string a, it contains just the characters, the brackets or curly braces or the square brackets. Determine if a string is a valid string. An input string is a valid if open brackets must be closed by the same type of brackets. Open bracket must be closed in the correct order. Every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. So ideally, if we see the main concept here, sorry, let me delete this. Yep. So this is the basic concept about like you think like it's a program, like you can validate the basic things, which is especially like this is a valid one, whereas this is not a valid one, and this one is not valid. The reason is it's not a matching parenthesis, right? You can see that this is an open braces of like this one, and the closing braces is curly braces, so it's not a valid one. As well as if you have like one open brace and one closing brace and one square bracket and second square bracket which is a closed one, then this is a valid one. As well as if you have two square braces and you have like open parenthesis and closing parenthesis, then this is also a valid one, because you can see that this is exist and the next one is also there, so that's like a mapped one. And once you remove that, you can see square braces also mapped one, like a left side square braces and right side square braces. Yeah. So ideally you can see that the conditions like open bracket must be closed by same type of brackets, open bracket must be closed in the correct order, which means this is not a correct order. As well as you can say this is also not a correct order. If you see like this closing braces and this one is not a correct order. Not only that, even you put like this is also not a correct order. Even though you put like square braces, this is also not a correct order, because these braces are inside. It's kind of like a nested one. If you think about expanding this, you can see that both are like both are kind of like a nested, right? You can see that. So this is not a valid condition. Got it now? And every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. So ideally, if we see that if any open brace, if any closing bracket has, it must and should have a corresponding what I can say like open braces of the same type. Okay, so now if this question, okay, let me tell you one thing. The same question is asked in multiple interviews. While I attempted interview for eBay, they have asked the same question. As well as when I attended for some small startup company, I didn't remember exact name, the same company is also asked the same problem. I mean, I already aware of this solution. I mean, like the what kind of data structure we will use and all. But to give a thought, let us assume you don't have any data structure at all. How do you can solve this problem? You got it, right? Like what I'm trying to say is like, if you don't have any data structures in the code, how do you will solve this one? That's a one question, right? So if you similar way, if you think about another side, I know that I mean, if you wanted to make any matching related ones, like I mean, think like here in this condition, every closed braces has a corresponding open brackets in the same type. So that indicates you have to validate certain things, like whatever coming in the order, you have to validate the same order approach, right? Means like what I mean here is like if you have this, then you have to validate that if it is there or not, right? So otherwise, let us assume if you came with closing braces, then you have to make sure that the previous I mean like the previous one somehow must and should have a closing braces. I mean like sorry, open braces, right? So for this kind of scenarios, what kind of data structures you can use, how do you will make it that it's a valid one? And parallelly, like if you see this kind of question, I mean, let us assume if you don't have any data structures, how do you can by using just an arrays, how do you can validate these kind of things? Got it, right? How are you gonna make it? Let's just imagine that. Okay, let's first I mean, I will come and jump into the actual solution. The very actual solution is a very simple. For this kind of matching braces, you have to use stack as a data structure. So what I mean is like I mean, rather than jumping into data structure, let me write it as a logic, and you understand that how do we can make it this possible. So I mean, let us assume this is a real problem scenario. Then there is a theory called you have to connect the dots by looking at a backward direction, right? So what I mean here is, so ideally, so suppose example here is this is a valid one, right? So if you look into this, so I need to take a look at my closing parenthesis. If I have a closing parenthesis and if I have a matching open parenthesis or open bracket, then it's a valid, right? Which means like you have, I mean, for a given position or for a given string, like a mid of the string or end of the string, you have to make sure that for any closing parenthesis or closing brackets or closing square braces must and should have a open braces. That's the pattern, right? I mean, if you follow the same pattern, like open brackets must close by the same type of brackets. Open brackets must be closed in the correct order. Every closed bracket has corresponding open bracket of the same type. Okay. So first rule, same brackets. That's a good. Second rule, it must be closed in the correct order. So what I mean here is this is not the correct order, right? So that's the reason it is not a valid. Okay. So what I mean here is like if it is a correct order means, so if I have square braces here and if I have this bracket, then I have to have the closing bracket and then I have to have another one, this one, right? So because observe here, if you split like I mean, let's do this way. If you give this one to a small kid, what he will do, okay, I got this one open bracket. Okay, now I need to check that does it has, I mean, in my string after this statement, does it has a closed bracket? Let's assume this first example. Yes, it is there. Then it's a valid one. Coming to second condition, open brackets must be closed in the correct order. So this is closing in the correct order, right? So here the order is mandatory. What I mean here is, suppose if you have square braces here, then you need to know that when you are looking at closing time, if you think about all these things, pretty much they're starting from left, but pretty much they're focusing on closed. So you have to go in a reverse direction. So whenever you face any closed bracket, the logic is here like this. Whenever you face a closed bracket, it can be a square bracket, or it can be a closed bracket, or it can be a curly braces, then you have to make sure that closed parenthesis following these principles. That's it. If you can crack that, then the logic behind that, that's it. Means like every clause must and should follow these three based on whether it has an open or not, right? So what I mean here is, so in a simple approach, when we do, so let us assume this is the like a input. So when I have the first and second one, so assume you will place it in a one kind of like a data structure maybe. So let us assume this is gonna be some kind of like a table structure maybe. Okay, let's do this way. Okay, somehow it doesn't have table structure, but it's okay, that's okay. So let's do this way. Okay, so I'm gonna put first my left parenthesis. When I'm reading left to right, I will keep on putting my all left side ones, like a left braces or left square brackets or left curly braces or anything like that. When I start looking into right side operations, if you split these inputs into two different way, let's see that left side ones are these, right? Where you see that right side ones are these, right? These are left side and these are right side one. So here in this condition, what we need here is, when you keep seeing that left side ones like open brackets, you just keep putting into one place some temporary space. Let us assume you kept it this one, use reading this string first character, you kept this one. Okay, let us assume that. Now when you start reading the right operator, okay, when you start reading the right operator, any of this right operator, then you have to take a look about your temporary space and make sure that you have matched these things, which means like when I see that right side one, right, I must and should have closing like when I see that right side one, I must and should have left side one. So let's remove that from that. Okay, then if it is empty, your table or temporary space is empty, then that indicates your curly braces input is a valid one. Okay, let's see the same example, the second one. Okay, so when the given input is these three, like brackets, square brackets, curly brackets. Okay, so let's assume we are reading cursor one by one. Okay, so assume first we read this left side one. It is a left side one, so keep it in a temporary space. Okay, when you're getting the right side one, right, so remove from the temporary space and check that, because that makes it like a, think like it's a +1 -1 like that. So left side one is like a upward direction, right side is like a downward direction, like that, so that you will get like a balanced approach. So when you get that right one, remove this left one and make it as empty. Now when you get square bracket, keep that in a temporary space, left side square bracket, because left side, save it. Let's do this way. Left side, save. Right side, check latest one, means like a check the topmost one, or check the latest bracket, and if match means like for this one, the matching one is this. If it is match, then if match, if match, then just remove. At the end of this operation, if you see your temporary space is empty, that's it. That means it's a valid one. If it is not empty, that's not a valid one. If it is empty, it's a valid one. If it's not empty, not a valid one. So now when you get the second, back to our solution, when we get second right side square bracket, remove that from your temporary space. Boom. Similar way, when you're getting left side curly braces, put it in the space. When you get right side curly braces, remove from the space. Okay. Now let us see this not valid case. Let's see what is going to happen. Why it is not a not valid one? Because remember, this has to follow that third statement. Every close bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. And again, this statement should say that like it must be without any like a spaces or something like that. I mean, like okay, let's go with this one. Okay, so now you get left bracket, keep it in your temporary space. Now you got left square bracket, keep it in a temporary space. Now when you get right side bracket, if you look at the latest one, this one, it's not matched, right? That means it's not a valid one, because this is not a mapped one. It is like a nested ones, right? How do you know that it is not a nested one? So nested one is if it is like this, means like an open curly braces and a closing curly braces, then it is not a nested one. But if you have something in between like this, then it is nested, right? You can see that this curly braces here, and this one from here. This is like a nested one, right? So how do you can find that whether it is nested or not? By only looking into latest matched value. Okay, so to get this kind of thing, like to make latest value, to look into the latest value, you must and should use stack. Stack is last in first out. Whatever you inserted at the last, that will come out first. That's it. Okay, so let's do apply the same theoretical concept in a practical. So what I'm gonna do, I will create, again I'm using Java, so I'm creating a stack. It is a collection framework. What is that called? Collection framework entity stack. It's a class, so I'm going to use a stack equals to new stack character. Again, if you are using Java 8, this is optional part, you don't need to specify that. And you can use, what I'm going to do, from the string I'm going to take character by character. Okay, before going to that, I will use a maybe like yeah, okay, let's go this way. I will do that, like how you can improve that later time. So you can use char, let's do C colon S dot to char array. I'm not sure whether it's a capital C or small c. Let's find. So I'm taking this character C S dot to char array, which means like individual character I'm fetching. Now what I'm gonna do, our first logic, if it is left side ones, do the save operation. Okay, let's do this way. If our character equals to left side bracket, left side bracket, or I'm gonna copy this one. Okay, any of this left side operators, left side brackets, right? You can see that this one or this one or this one, I'm gonna put it into my stack, which means like a save operation. Okay, this operator is a save operation. If it is other than that, which means if I have any other element, which means like what I'm saying, that like any characters or like anything which is from stack, I'm gonna take the topest element. Okay, stack dot pop, I'm gonna take that character. Okay, let's assume top element equals to this. Now I'm gonna compare whether it is a matching or not, which means if it is a square bracket, then it must be a square bracket of other one, right? So if it is not matched, then it is like a false, right? So what I'm gonna do, I will check if given character is a right side operator, which means like if you think about right side parenthesis, and I'm gonna compare with this top element. If top element is not equals to the top element is not equals to closing bracket, then this indicates it's a false. Am I right? So what I'm trying to do here is, whenever we are getting this parenthesis, right side parenthesis, I'm taking and looking at the toppest element from the stack, which is that latest stack element. If it is matches, then remove it, right? So basically stack.pop is already removing that element. So that's the reason what I'm trying to do here is like, I'm going to mapping it the corresponding, I'm checking that whether if this is the correct one, and if it is not the matched ones, then I'm going to return false. Means like that's not a valid one. Okay. So same way, you have to apply the same condition for other guys. What I mean here is, for, let's put like this for easy reading, c equals to square bracket, then top element must be not equals to this, then return a false. Parallelly, I will do another or loop, another or statement. Let's close this. Okay. Now, similar to like a square brackets, let's do curly bracket. Okay. Now, if it is not, then it's obviously it's a false statement. Okay. Now imagine if you see about any of the valid ones at the end of the statement, if you get a matched ones, like these two matches or square bracket matches or curly brace, square brackets, like a bracket, curly braces and square, right side bracket, then if you see at the end of any valid inputs, stack is empty, right? That's it. You just need to return if the end of your reading all the characters, if stack is empty, that's a true, right? If its stack is empty, which means it's a valid data because it's a valid parenthesis. So that's why I'm just returning is empty validation. If it is not empty, that means you don't have a valid bracket which is still left in the stack. Means like you have a left bracket, but you don't have a right bracket. Right? That's what it is saying, that this is what every closed bracket has a corresponding open bracket of the same type. If this is not empty, which means, if it is empty, it's a valid one. If it is not empty, it is not a valid one. Okay. Now, if you run the code, you can see that, see, this is a valid one. I think here, like when we are popping that element, we might need to check if string is empty or not. I'm thinking that could be another case. It will come here, because if you think about this one, an example, our same pattern, if we do, okay, for this data, when you read this first left side bracket, you keep it in the stack. Let us assume this is your stack bracket. Now when you see the right side bracket, so it's a right side one, you pop this element. Okay, you will pop this element from the right side, from the stack, because it's a matched, so you delete it. Okay, now stack is empty, so now you get square bracket, left side square bracket, you keep it that. When you have right side square bracket, you remove it. Similarly, when you have left side square bracket, you're looking into whether it's a right side bracket or not. If it is matched, it's a valid one, you continue. If it is not matched, you are returning false. Let's assume this is what your case. 3 2 2. Yes, let's assume this is the one. Okay, in a simple way, let's do this way. 3 characters. So when you're reading the string one by one, okay, you have one parenthesis. Let's do this one. You will put it in stack. You got right parenthesis, you will remove that. Done. Stack is empty. But at the time, again, because it's a right side one, you don't put it in the stack, but you try to pop from the stack. So when you pop from the stack, the top element will be null, right? So that's what causes that issue. Empty. Stack is empty. Let's run this one. I'm thinking that stack, even though if it is empty, we're doing that on, say, empty stack exception. So one way you can fix this one is like, I'm sure that if it is stack is empty when you try to pop it, okay, when you're trying to pop it, if stack is empty, that means like you don't have a data, but you got the right side parenthesis, right? When you get the right side parenthesis, that on at the time only you are taking from the stack. So you are getting the right side parenthesis, which means like you don't have a left side parenthesis. That is a wrong one, which means if it is stack is empty, just return false. That's it. I hope you understand the logic here. So let me put like this one. When you are getting left parenthesis, you are doing save operation. When you are getting the right parenthesis, where is that? When you are getting the right parenthesis, you have to make a match. Make a match. If you don't match it, just return false. Why you are taking the stack? Stack is empty check where you are doing, which means the stack is empty, but input has right operators, or right brackets, but no left brackets, right? No left brackets, which means stack is empty. So that's the reason if it is stack is empty, you're just returning a false statement. Let's submit this. See that? Boom. Good. Nice, right? I hope you understand what we are doing here. Now coming back to a beginner level, what if you don't have any stack? You don't know stack. How do you going to solve this one? Can you solve this one by using that? Yes, of course. You don't need to remember that stack. You can think this is as an array, your temporary arrays, your temporary array space. Whenever you are getting left brackets, anytime when you're getting left brackets, put it in the array. Anytime you are getting right brackets, take from last element and remove it. Got it? What I mean here is, if you want to write the same code by using, if you try to convert the same code by using array data structure, how you can do that? Remember this. So I'm going to create int array, okay, int temp array equals to new int. As you know that when you're creating integer, you have to define size. So I'm going to take s dot length. Okay, that is the maximum size which I wanted to take. Okay, initially everything is filled with the zeros. That's what Java will does. So now what I'm gonna do, for each character, I'm gonna put here. Okay, I'm taking each character. Now same way I will do here. Okay, when I'm doing here, I'm gonna put an integer int index equals to 0. That's like my index position. If it is left parenthesis, save in your temporary array. So I'm gonna put temporary array of I, right? Sorry, I means like index here. So I'm gonna put index equals to, put that character, whatever the character is there, to put that character. Okay, save operation. Now when I'm coming else, same way we will follow that. If it is stack empty, how you can see that stack empty? One second, I forgot one thing. index plus plus. Okay, if it is stack empty, how do you can see that? If index equals to 0, that means it's a stack empty, return false. Okay, that's what my second condition. Let me maximize it so that you can see that I'm pretty much mimicking this operation here. That's it, nothing much new here. And when I'm doing this way, the char, whatever the top element it is there, how do I can take the top element? Because I have index position, right? So I need to take that element, but when I'm doing that element, okay, I need to take index minus minus. Okay, I'm just reducing that index and I'm taking that temporary array of index element. When I'm giving it to top element, I need to make it this one as a 0 2. Okay, 0. Let me tell you like why I'm doing that. Let's remove that. Okay, let me tell you like, I mean, yeah, that's fine. Top element equals to array of index position. Now what I'm gonna do, the same operation I'm gonna do here, like this logic I'm gonna implement here. So whatever the top element it's there, let us put that naming convention is like a latest bracket, right? That's the proper naming convention. Sorry, whatever the latest bracket it is there, latest matched bracket, then I'm returning false. So at the end of that complete for loop, what I need to do, I need to return if index is 0 or not. Got it? Maybe you can ask like, oh, I mean, if I have, I mean, like, is there any chance this can break the system? Like, is there any way your system gonna break it? Yes, of course, you can say that, okay, what happen if I give all left brackets, right? All like this, 4 or let's assume 4. Okay. If you remember, I'm creating my temporary array of size, all the left bracket size means like an input of string, which could be here, it's a 4. So it will always go to if condition, it keep on inserts it, then index reaches to 4, right? Because see, let me put this way. Okay, see this way, what I'm trying to explain here is, do this way, yeah, let me try to, yeah, now you can see that. So when I go this all 4 left brackets, so I'm gonna first put into in my temp array, I'm gonna put my left one, my index is 1, right? Because index started at 0, index plus plus 1, it doesn't go to else bracket, and then it goes to next character is also left bracket. So again, it will put it into the temporary array, then index plus plus, which is a 2. Then when it's come to third index, so I'm gonna put again one more time, then index 3. Then when I coming to fourth bracket, I'm gonna keep it to again in my array, then index is 4. Now after this condition is done, I mean all the reading, all the characters are done, does my index equals 0? No, because I have all the left brackets, there is no matching brackets. That can say that it's a false, it is not a matched value. Okay, let's run this code. Let's see if there is any bugs or any index out of bound issues or anything like that. Something was wrong. Oh, I created an integer temp array. Wow, that's nice one. Okay, let's create the character one, because we are inserting that character one. Boom. Let's try, submit, see the result. See, the runtime is 0 milliseconds. It's a faster than 100% of Java. The reason why it is faster, because you are using arrays and you are using index based, which is, I hope you know that it's a random access memory. So that's why pretty much it is all. Do you think any other way we can solve this problem before finishing up? Do you think any other possible way we can solve this. If you imagine inputs, pretty much any inputs you see, those are looks like a palindromes, right? What I mean is, if you think left and right are same, okay, if you think left and right are same, then this is a palindrome. Let's see that. Let us assume all the lefts are like, this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3, okay, and this is like a -1, -2, -3. Now you see here, left parenthesis +1 and right parenthesis -1. Left parenthesis 1, right parenthesis is a -2, right? Sorry, -3. What I'm trying to do here is 1, 2, 3. That's value I wanted to give. Now let's see about 1, -1. Left parenthesis is a 2, square brackets is a 2, right square bracket is a 2, -2. If you sum, it is 0. But remember that if you think about this not valid case, if you imagine this going a countwise, 1 square bracket is a 2, -1, which is not a matched one, right? Like this is not a mapped one. Latest one is not mapped one. Then it's not a valid, like that. If you think about palindrome approach, that is also right? If you take reverse of this, and if it is matched, it's the correct one. If you, what I'm trying to thinking, another idea which I'm getting here is, can we do reverse of the given input? Okay, reverse of the given input, which means the reverse for this is also same, and then subtract each character. Similarly, if you think this one, the reverse is, you have to, when you're doing the reverse, you have to make it the opposite ones, and then you subtract it. So what I'm trying to say is, but reverse input is a logic. When you're doing the reverse operation, convert each left to right, left brackets to right bracket, right brackets to left bracket, right and right brackets to left. Got it? Then what you can do, and do that a minus b, like given input is equals to reverse 1, reverse input, okay, reversed input. That's it. It is a valid one. Let's try that code too. Okay, another approach which I'm trying to make it, I'm not sure whether it will work in completely logically, but let's try. What I'm trying to do here is, like, when I'm doing the reverse, I'm converting left to right or right to left, and I'm making whether both are equal or not. So here the same one, input first 2, which, okay, sorry, my cursor is here, yeah, which has left bracket and left curly braces. When I'm doing reverse, I'm converting each character reverse operation. So the right curly braces, right curly braces will be converted into left curly braces. Okay, and then this one, left curly braces, will be converted to right curly braces. Rather than doing that, let's do this reverse operation as a 2 phases. First phase, phase 1, make matched data, matched brackets, make matched brackets, and second data, like a second one, just to do reverse operation. That's it. Which means, like, if you make a matched bracket, for left one it is a right bracket, for a right curly braces it is a left curly braces. Now if you do the reverse operation, this is the right curly braces and left curly braces, and right bracket. Now if this is equal, then it is a valid one. Let's do for this condition too. So first phase I will do left bracket to right bracket, left square bracket to right square bracket, right curly braces to left curly braces, right square bracket to left square bracket. Yeah, kind of confused, right? If you do the reverse operation, right square bracket, parenthesis, square bracket, this one. Oh, sorry. Once again, if you do reverse, square bracket and left bracket and closing square bracket and this guy. This is not equal. It's not a valid one. If you do the same valid one case, like a last valid one case, let's try this way. Last one, if it is able to do that, then we can see that. So first do that reverse operator. Right curly braces, right square bracket. For left bracket, make it right bracket. For right bracket, make it left bracket. And then for the right square bracket, make it left square bracket. Now let's do the reverse operation. Left square bracket, left bracket, right bracket, and then right square bracket. I'm just doing that reverse of each operation. Okay. Now if I do the reverse and if I match it, it is a valid one. That's it. Let's try that logic. Very simple way. Okay. So let's do first operation is make matched brackets. Okay. Whatever the brackets it's there, make it that opposite bracket one. Okay. Let's do this one. Let's do. Okay. I'm gonna put that string into a buffer. String buffer. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, this is like a temporary string buffer which I wanted to hold that reverse operation, all this parameter. When I'm coming each character, I'm gonna check the same way. Okay, let's write a switch case. Switch character C. Now I'm gonna write a case statement. Case individually. If it is this bracket, okay, I'm gonna add string buffer dot append. Okay, I'm gonna append the reverse pattern one. This one. Sorry. Okay, got it. Now let's do that break statement too. If I get curly braces, let's add right side curly braces. If I get square braces, left side square braces, I'm gonna append right side square braces. That's it. Break statement. Got it. That's it. You got that first one, which is like first phase is done. Make matched brackets. Now you need to do the reverse operation. String buffer does reverse operation quickly. You can do that string buffer dot reverse operation, which does that reverse of that operation. I wanted to do one statement, system dot out dot println, where I wanted to display this string buffer value after reverse operation. Now I'm gonna check, sorry, system. Now I'm gonna check if my reverse operation is equals to, okay, if my reverse operation is equals to my original string. Rather than doing this way, I can do this way. Let's do this way. S dot equals to string buffer dot toString. That's it. Oh, okay, you don't need to do if condition and all, just return that statement. If you feel little bit complex here, you can do like this one. Sorry, if it is equals, return true, which is means like it's a mapped one, I mean matched parenthesis. If it is else, return false. So remember guys, when you are writing any professional production ready code, here you are doing that test condition, right? Like a Boolean value. This statement equals itself will return a Boolean value. So if it is a Boolean value, again, why do you want it to return true or false, something like that? So this means you can directly write whatever the Boolean statement it is coming from here as a return statement. Return, that's it. You can, I mean, this 4 lines can be replaced with a single line. Run the code. Let's see whether it's correct or not. See, looks like, oh, something was wrong. See, one thing we did a mistake. Sorry guys. I did only for left parenthesis. What happened to right parenthesis? Right? So I missed that one. Sorry. Now let's see run. Yep. Oh, something was, oh, sorry. For left one, for the left one, you have to make it as a right one. Yep, let's do. Got it. Let's submit. Let's see. I'm not sure, like, if any, I haven't tested all the cases. See, something was wrong. Yes, these kind of things will fail. Yes, of course. Right? Because if you think about the combination, when you do the reverse, this will go to here backward. That's why it is not a valid one. See, yesterday out came this one, and this is not an equal, but it's a valid case. Let's do one. Okay, yeah. One second. Input brackets, square brackets, curly braces. We do that first. One second. We do that if we convert this to the operator. I mean first phase, it should be like this. Oh, sorry, this is very small. Yep. This left one converted to right one converted to left, curly braces. When you do the reverse operation, curly brace, and then square bracket. Yes sir, right? This is not a valid one. Yeah, I totally agree that. Yeah, sorry, by mistake, I haven't think about these kind of use cases where they have adjacent brackets. That's why. Yeah, this is not a valid case. Sorry guys. Yeah. But as I proposed, these two solutions are solid solutions for your interview. But when you think through this thing, I mean, don't make me like, I mean, don't do like a stupid mistake what I did. Okay, just when you run this code, just think through all the possible cases. Okay, that's it for today. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach us. And yeah, feel free to reach us on any social network or directly in our portal so that we can help you guys to crack your interview. Thank you. Have a great day.